each page on your website. So you can use a tool. There's a free tool called Google Keyword Planner, and you can jump onto that. It's by Google, free of charge. You can jump into that and you can type in keywords into that, and it shows you how much traffic, how much monthly traffic each of those keywords actually get. And there's no point picking a keyword. So there's no point picking, engineering, recruitment agency, or the best engineering recruitment agency in Victoria or something like that. If no one's searching for that, there's no point going after that keyword because you're never going to get any traffic. There's just no point ranking at the top spot because no one's searching for that particular keyword. So it's just pointless. So you need to kind of work out a keyword that's actually getting some real traffic, that has low competition, and then dedicate the page to kind of going after that keyword.
Welcome to the Tech Savvy Recruiter, the podcast for recruitment and staffing agency owners keen to explore the tech innovations reshaping our industry. I'm Andrew Roger from recMate.
And I'm Belinda Kerr from Recruitment Garage, and together we're your hosts, bringing you a stellar lineup of tech experts ready to help you understand and, more importantly, benefit from the increasing array of tech available to you today. Okay, this week we are delighted to be joined by Robert Garner, Director of Abstraction Labs in the UK, who specialise in creating recruitment websites. We're keen to take a look at what Rob sees as important on recruitment websites these days, and he also tells me that he's been taking a deep dive into SEO and lead gen lately. So two really interesting topics. Keen to hear his thoughts on that as well. So Rob, thank you so much for joining Andrew and myself today. It's lovely to have you on the Tech Savvy podcast. And let's get on to anything else you'd like to say by way of introduction before we kick off.
No, that's it. No, you did me, as an amazing introduction. I couldn't have done a better job myself. So, yeah, thanks for that.
I'll take that. All righty. Well, let's kick off with, this is a favourite topic of mine actually, user experience. So what key elements do you believe these days contribute to a user-friendly design for websites for recruitment agencies in particular?
Yeah, I think website design is a whole massive kind of podcast you spend hours and hours talking about. But I think a couple of key parts I would say, which most websites thankfully do these days, would be one would be mobile friendly. So your website's mobile friendly. So, it looks good on your laptop screen. It looks good on, mobile devices, on tablets, but then also on kind of larger desktop screens as well. A lot of kind of websites kind of forget about people sitting on their large kind of desktop screens these days. So kind of having it set up for that as well. And then also speed. I find there's so many recruitment websites these days that are just quite slow, to be totally frank, and that's a massive user experience factor for people, but also for Google as well. They kind of rank your website depending on how fast it is as well. And if someone's trying to access it and they're sitting there for longer than 3 seconds, for example, there's a higher chance they're going to navigate away from the website. So speed's a massive one for me. If I'm kind of clicking on pages, I'm clicking on buttons, I want to go to that page. I want to see that the website's doing something pretty quickly. So those are the two kind of biggest ones that I kind of always kind of stick to. And you can test your website speed as well. There's a tool called Google Lighthouse. You can just Google that. It's really easy to access. You just kind of right click on your website, click inspect, and the little kind of thing that pops up on the right hand side, you can click Lighthouse. It kind of shows you how fast your website is, and you normally want about 60% or 60 out of 100. If you've got a score of about 60 out of 100, then that's a pretty good speed. If you've got anything less than that, then you probably want to have a chat to your website developer and get that sped up.
Yeah, 100%. And there's so many things, aren't there, that can affect it, like image size and a whole swag of things.
Oh, there's so much. I mean, images as well. A lot of people kind of still use JPEGs and PNGs for their websites. I always say there's a format called WebP that Google invented a few years back. Okay. And you can jump online. So you can, if you want to upload an image to your blog, for example, and it's in a JPEG, you can jump online. There's loads of free tools online. I think one's called Image Converter. If you just type in Image Converter, you upload the JPEG, you can convert it into a WebP and then download that and then use that. And they're a lot smaller. The resolution is still really good, but they're a lot smaller, and it speeds up your website so much.
Oh. Good to know. Yeah, cool. And what about What else? I mean, it's funny because I look at a lot of websites, a lot of recruitment websites, and I find that people build them like they think people are going to read them. And I like lots of white space, quick grabs, and I like to know where I'm supposed to be. I like to know that I'm in the right place and being directed quickly. Do you find that as well, that recruitment agency owners want to just sort of shove everything on there and tell everything en masse? Is that something you come up against?
Yeah, so I don't know. I always find it's very hard when it comes to the practical side. It's quite hard getting the content off website owners when they're obviously running the recruitment agency. You know, they've got a whole team to manage. They're bringing in vacancies. They're trying to fill them. So it's always hard kind of getting them to write that content. But yeah, I prefer just clean, minimal. You need to kind of put yourself in the mind of the user, of your visitor. So it's probably going to be a candidate, a client, or potential talent that's going to work for your agency. Put yourself in their shoes. What's their search intent? They probably know pretty much what your company does. You know, they're going onto your website. They know you're a recruitment agency. They know that you specialize in engineering or pharma or tech or aerospace or whatever it may be. So they know these things already. So you don't have to tell them that much. Kind of focus on things that are going to fill in those kind of gaps that they don't know about you, those things that are going to kind of differentiate your agency from the other agencies, from the other 5,000 agencies in your particular niche. So that's what I always say. But yeah, I like the clean, minimal, just kind of design. I'm a big fan of that.
What about you, Roger? What do you think?
Yeah, I'm less is more kind of guy as well. I remember there was a story, I probably won't do it justice, but Google apparently kept getting a message from a particular person. It was just a number, okay? And it happened randomly. They were trying to work out sequences, and finally they put their greatest minds together and they worked out that the number was representative of the number of words on the Google homepage. And traditionally it's a very, very clean white site. And if Google knows one or two things about how to engage with their customers, maybe we should take a page out of their book as well. So apparently the story goes that when they had too much on that web page, that's when this guy would chime in and say, hey, there's 147 or whatever it is, and that was the number of words that they had increased it to above the standard website page. So yeah, I'm definitely a more is not necessarily better. I think there's so much information we need to process on a daily basis that less is more rings true to me.
Cool.
I remember those great changes from years back as well, back in the 90s and the early 2000s, where you'd have you go onto Yahoo and you'd have just reams of information of all these different, the weather forecasts and showbiz news and all this kind of stuff. And there was a little kind of toolbar you needed to find to actually kind of search what you wanted to do. And there's all this other information. It was too cluttered for me.
Yeah, I was still at school and I don't know.
Touche. Well, I've been talking about strategies and SEO. We touched on it briefly a bit there, Rob, but are there some particular strategies that recruitment agencies should be thinking about to implement to make sure that their website tracks well in that search engine type results that we were just talking around?
Yeah. So I've really kind of delved into this massively over the last kind of 6 months or so and plunged so much time into it. But there's a lot you can do. What I find is most recruitment agencies don't really focus on their SEO. So if you want to get onto that first page of Google, if you want to get onto the first page of, engineering recruitment firm in Brisbane or pharmaceutical recruitment firm in Sydney or whatever it may be, it should be pretty easy to get onto there. It won't be that hard if you put some effort into it. And the key things you want to focus on, I can go into this, I've talked for hours on this, but the key thing you want to focus on is backlinks. So backlinks, the big thing. So Google will determine how much authority your website has, dependent on the number of backlinks, the number of links that are going from all over the rest of the internet, linking into your particular website. So the more links that you have going into your website, Google goes, oh, okay, this website must be quite valuable. Lots of people are mentioning this website or mentioning content on this website. So I'm going to push that website up the search ranking. So you want to get more kind of backlinks going into your website. That's the biggest kind of key thing. There's loads of free tools where you can kind of check it. So there's a tool called Ahrefs, so Ahrefs. Put your URL into that, and it'll give you a domain rating with the number of backlinks that are going into your website. And you can take that figure, jump onto the first page jump onto Google, type in, engineering recruitment firm in Brisbane, and then scroll to the bottom of that page, see who's in 10th place, and then take their URL and then put that in there as well. And then you want to beat their domain rating or beat their number of backlinks, and then that will put you onto the first page of Google pretty much. And getting those backlinks, you can get those backlinks by you can reach out to people and write kind of guest blog posts for them. You can, to be honest, Google says you're not really allowed to do this, but every single website does it. It's basically buying backlinks.
Does it?
Yeah, and then this is like I can't no one actually comes out and actually says this, but because it goes against Google's rules, but every single big website out there buys backlinks, and you can buy these kind of little backlinks and they kind of feed into your website to kind of bulk up your kind of ranking. But you really need to know what you're doing there. That you don't go out there and kind of buy, jump onto Fiverr and see 1,000 backlinks for $5, because that's going to just totally destroy your domain. If Google picks up on that, it could de-index you and pull you off Google altogether. So you need to be really kind of careful about it, really. And then content as well.
They have to be quite good. They have to be reputable sites too, don't they? I don't know a lot about this, but just from my understanding, they can't just be.
Or is it a quantity thing?
It's kind of a mix. You should always go for relevant backlinks. So you should always kind of reach out to. So if you're running a media recruitment company in Victoria, whatever it may be, you should reach out to media companies and try and get backlinks from those media companies. And Google will go, okay, look, these are media companies feeding into this media recruitment company, or get links from recruitment as well. And it will go, okay, this website, media and recruitment, I'm going to rank this website for these particular things. So the relevant things are a big thing as well. If you're getting links from kind of, major websites as well that have a high kind of authority score, domain rating, then that will knock you up as well. But yeah, a lot of them are just kind of quantity as well. A lot of these kind of websites that are out there that people kind of pay for, they don't get any traffic. It just Google picks up on the link and goes, oh, okay, there's another link. I'll add that to that. And that's where you see some websites with 10,000 links. You're like, well, that's absolutely impossible to get unless you've been buying these kind of links, really. So it's a whole kind of thing. But yeah, that's a rough kind of overview at least.
Yeah, very interesting.
Can you talk a little bit about and this is in your field too, Roger, is when you're having these integrations from job adders and CRMs, etc., and they're pulling jobs across. I know there's instances when the SEO will still feed through, and instances where it won't. And is it to do with sitting in iframes?
So for the integration, this shouldn't really affect your website it depends what you've got kind of set up. So there's some CRMs, I think Job Adder does this as well, where if you don't have a jobs page for your website can sit there and then it will kind of link into Job Adder, and Job Adder will kind of create a mini domain for your website. But all of that traffic that goes there, all of that link juice that goes there, it doesn't feed into your website in Google's eyes, I believe. So if you're kind of doing that, then you're going to miss out on all that kind of traffic and stuff like that. But a lot of the time when you do the integrations, you've got Job Adder here, say you've got your website here, you have a kind of you're pushing the jobs from Job Adder when you upload them onto your website. And also when someone applies to the job on your website, you're pushing those applications into Job Adder based on that particular kind of job vacancy ref or job vacancy ID, really. In that case, it shouldn't really affect your kind of SEO.
Okay, so as long as you've got the job page on your site, you should be golden. Yeah, okay. Well, that's good to know.
And what about the actual structure of the URL, Rob? Does that play into SEO world too much, or is that something? Because I was reading something the other week that that can enhance your SEO.
Yeah. So that's a key thing as well. Structure. So kind of moving into content a little bit, but so you should focus on one particular keyword for each page on your website. So you can use a tool. There's a free tool called Google Keyword Planner. And you can jump onto that. It's by Google, free of charge. You can jump into that and you can type in keywords into that, and it shows you how much monthly traffic each of those keywords actually get. And there's no point picking a keyword. So there's no point picking, engineering recruitment agency, or the best engineering recruitment agency in Victoria or something like that. If no one's searching for that, there's no point going after that keyword because you're never going to get any traffic. There's just no point ranking at the top spot because no one's searching for that particular keyword. So it's just pointless. So you need to kind of work out a keyword that's actually getting some real traffic, that has low competition, and then dedicate the page to kind of going after that keyword. So you focus on that keyword. You don't kind of cram that keyword into the actual page. Maybe use it kind of 1, 2, 3 times and kind of insert it into, so the URL. So keep the URL short, but maybe try and put it into the URL. So, you can put like engineering recruitment firm into the URL or something like that. And then maybe put it into the title tag or the header tag, or put it somewhere into kind of the first paragraph of that particular page. But yeah, with the URLs, try and keep them short and try and kind of put the keyword into that URL. That's the kind of the best bit of advice I can give you.
Yeah, perfect. And in terms of content itself, articles, blogs, all that kind of stuff, does that leverage yourself well in SEO's eyes, or is that fruitless?
Yeah.
It's more for content
I think I'm a big supporter of, so I used to work in the media industry, on kind of magazines, newspapers, stuff like that years ago. So I'm a big fan of kind of well-written editorial content. But yeah, it really does help your agency website. Like if you want to be ranking for those kind of short tail keywords for, like engineering recruitment firm, or if you want to be ranking for those long tail keywords, so kind of a longer phrase, really, yeah, you really do need that blog page there, really, and you need to kind of update it. You don't need to put loads of content on there, but just update the blog like 2 to 3 times a month. That will be totally sufficient. You don't have to plow loads of time into it. But yeah, you need that kind of blog page, and it's the best way as well when you're kind of building up. It's best to kind of go for that low hanging fruit. Like if you try and rank for a short tail keyword that everyone's going for, it's going to be really, really hard to get that keyword. So go for kind of things that maybe get like 10 to 100 kind of monthly users or searches every single month, and kind of go for that stuff, and then kind of build your way up, really. And you can write blog posts that kind of target those kind of that low level hanging fruit, and then kind of work up from there, really. But yeah, the blog page is a brilliant way to do that.
Rob, what sites? One of the guys in my program the other day was talking about, she had a Wix or a Squarespace site. I can't remember which one it was. And she was looking to up her SEO on it, but was talking to an SEO agency and they said, no, on this site it's not going to work. So if people have got smaller businesses and they're using things like Wix and Squarespace, is that like, what's the deal with SEO on those?
Yeah, so I think if you're starting up your recruitment agency, I think Wix, Squarespace, Duda, GoDaddy. There's a blog on my page, on my website, that kind of lists like the major ones. But those template website builders are really good, really. You can get a template drag and drop website builder for kind of 30 quid. There's other ones out there that charge way more than that. I'd kind of steer clear of those, to be totally honest. The Wix, the GoDaddy, Squarespace ones, they're really good value. They've got massive international teams working on these kind of websites, and they're great kind of drag and drop website builders for kind of startup agencies. But yeah, you're going to really miss out, to be honest. When you're using those drag and drop builders, there's loads of things that you just can't do. And one of those things you're going to miss out on is kind of SEO, to be honest. So you need, I don't want to say kind of a proper website, but you need probably a web developer to actually build you a website, to build all these different things in that you can kind of change. And it's more kind of SEO optimized, really. So you can still do a lot of them, and they're still really good. They're still really fast. They're still really well optimized. They're kind of Google Lighthouse stats.
Good to start with, just when they need to get up and get something going.
They're really great, to be honest. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's interesting. Now, on to one of your favourite topics, I know. Let's talk about lead gen. So what features or tools do you think are essential for effectively capturing leads on a website, and anything else you'd like to talk about with lead gen? Because that's obviously a hot topic for everybody. Everyone wants more leads.
Yeah. I was supposed to do a bit of it. So I was talking to a recruiter, actually, on an IT recruiter on Friday. He gave me loads of kind of material on this. I didn't get a chance to kind of look into it properly. I'm not the best person when it comes to kind of lead gen. There's so many other people out there that do so much more than I do. I'm still kind of relatively new in this area. But I kind of traditionally use, so on my kind of lead gen side, I've kind of traditionally used Outscraper. So, for example, I kind of target recruitment agencies. So I use a tool called Outscraper, and that allows me to jump onto the Google Maps kind of API essentially, and I can kind of scrape. So I scraped like 30,000 recruitment agencies that are all based in the UK, and then put them into a CSV, like an Excel spreadsheet. And then I can take that and I upload that onto my CRM. And then that saves me literally thousands, tens of thousands of hours kind of researching those companies and then kind of manually inputting that data onto my kind of CRM. So I think that's a good one. So kind of scraping data. So if you kind of, sell to kind of, if you're a recruiter selling to media companies, recruiting for media companies, you can kind of scrape all the media companies. You can kind of go onto the Google Maps. There's like categories. So there'd probably be like, media company, advertising agency, production agency, things like that. You can scrape all of those and then you can take all of those companies and then put them onto your CRM. So that's a brilliant way. And then obviously you need to kind of sometimes enrich that data. So there's loads of tools out there. So Cognism is a very, it's a huge tool in Europe right now. It's very similar to Apollo. I can use Apollo because it's much cheaper, to be honest. Cognism is literally thousands of pounds every single year, but Apollo is really good. So you can kind of take that CSV, put it into Apollo, and then Apollo will kind of find all the founders or all the kind of marketing managers or operations directors or whatever it is you're kind of targeting. And it will find all of their information and then match it to that particular company and find their mobile numbers, their email addresses, all that kind of stuff. And then now you've got that enriched data, you can kind of put that into your CRM. And then you've just got a whole long list of kind of targets, really. And then, you can reach out to them, over the telephone, or you can just do a bulk kind of mail out to them if you wanted. So those kind of really good kind of lead gen tools. And when it comes to websites, I'd probably say things like Google Analytics and Google Tag Manager are really good kind of tools to use for kind of tracking traffic on your website to see where it's come from, which pages you're getting the most kind of visits to, things like that, really. So, yeah.
Yeah. And what about when it comes to, because one thing I do know is that most people that land on your site, if there's nothing to keep them there, they'll bounce off and you'll never see them again. So in terms of keeping people on your site and pulling them through into your funnel, like, lead magnets, all that kind of thing, what's your thoughts around the best way to do that these days?
Yeah. So, I mean, if people land onto one of your pages or they land on your homepage or something like that and they kind of bounce off, then there's something's kind of majorly wrong there. And you can use tools, like I mentioned, like Google Analytics, all those kind of things, to see those bounce rates, to see how long people are spending on your websites, to see which pages people are kind of bouncing off. So the reason why they would bounce off is search intent. Is search for intent. So if they've searched something and then your particular page has come up for that keyword, they land on your page and they're going, okay, this page doesn't actually answer the question I have. That's the kind of key reason they're going to kind of bounce off your page, really. So you need to make sure the pages that your website is ranking for, the keywords it's ranking for, it does actually address that issue, that kind of problem for that user, that visitor. And then, obviously on your pages as well, I've kind of scatter kind of call to action. So you never want a user to land on a page and then kind of just scroll down, hit the footer, and then have nowhere else to go. You want to kind of add those kind of call to action. So if they're kind of on your, about us page, have a little call to action to your kind of team page, or have a call to action to your kind of services page, or whatever it may be. Or if a candidate lands on your kind of, candidates page, have a call to action to your kind of contact page and a call to action to the job page. And then when they go onto the job page, maybe they're on there, they can't find what they need. So have a call to action to their kind of contact us page. So you want to kind of have them, you want to go, whatever page they land on, you want to have a particular user journey that kind of funnels them from your website, and you want that positive action at the end. You want them to kind of, apply to one of your jobs, or to pick up the phone and call you, or to send you an email, or to, subscribe to your newsletter. You want a positive action out of a visitor landing on your website. You need to direct them to that positive action.
Oh, I'm picking up so many tips here. I'm just scribbling down some really great ideas. So I'm sure that everybody who's listening today is also. Stemming from what you were just discussing there, Rob, around content and what you should be having on your website, how can recruitment agencies ensure that their website remains fresh and engaging for both candidates and clients on a continuous basis? Or do we overthink that? Do we overthink that somebody's going to come back here and go, oh, I remember this is exactly the same as it was before? Is there a program that you recommend for your customers to think about to keep that content fresh and engaging?
So I think we underthink it, to be totally honest, and I'm very guilty for this. And I think when it comes to writing content, don't write content for yourself and don't write content based on what you think people are looking for and what you think they're searching for. It's very laborious writing content, and you need to spend time. It's much better to spend time researching and planning these things and write 5 high quality articles that are going to get traffic than writing 10 articles that are going to get no traffic. Focus on that quality. And it's not about getting traffic to the website. It's about customer acquisition. You don't just want traffic. You don't want just people landing on your website and the vanity metrics of like, oh, do you know what? We've got 1,000 visits this month on our website. If that hasn't converted to any clients or anyone sending their CVs, it's pointless. That's just totally pointless traffic. The key thing is your website is there to find relevant candidates and to get them to apply to your jobs, and for clients to land on your website and be like, do you know what, this is an agency I want to partner with, and for them to get in touch with you. And content, it's a great way to do that, kind of blog posts and things like that. You can, there's so many tools out there. There's that one you can kind of pay for. There's one called Ahrefs that I kind of mentioned. There's another one called Key Search, was a bit kind of cheaper. But with these tools, you can kind of feed it a bunch of keywords. You can see the amount of traffic those keywords actually get, and then you can see the competition for those particular keywords. So there's lots of keywords out there that get maybe 100 monthly visits, and they've got no real competition for those keywords, and you can kind of write a piece based on that keyword, and then you're probably going to rank in the top spot if it's getting no real competition, and then you're going to get those 100 visits kind of feeding in really. So I'm a big fan of content, but just make sure you spend time on writing content that people are actually searching for. Otherwise,
I think a good example, I was just going to say a good example for people to look at there is HubSpot. They do this really well. Funnily enough, given what market they're in, you can see that everything that they write is all written around, those keyword strings that they want. So if you're keen to have a look a bit further, have a look at HubSpot's emails and sign up to them, and you'll see. I know it's not sitting on probably sitting on the website as well, but the emails that come through are very well. So if you're searching for something on Google, that's around websites or CRM, like chances are something from HubSpot will show up.
Yeah, they've got an absolutely huge content marketing team. HubSpot too, it's absolutely unbelievably huge. And if you search most
is it? Okay,
you'll have a HubSpot article cropping up. And that's brilliant. They've kind of covered so many bases. But I think there's one I saw a while back. I think one of their best performing pages was how to make a GIF, or how to make a GIF, however you pronounce it. So that's one of their best kind of traffic, the highest kind of traffic pages. But then I always kind of thought you're not really driving, you're not getting, marketeers or people that are going to buy a CRM kind of looking for that particular thing. They're still getting traffic going into the website, and they're probably, still very kind of creative and still kind of markety kind of stuff. So they're still kind of getting traffic that way. But they go for kind of like volume kind of content. They cover every single base. Yeah, it's amazing what they do over there.
Okay. There's another one. Is it Answer the Public or Ask the Public? Is that another one? Answer the Public.
Yeah. So I think that used to be. Yeah, saying it was Ask the Public or something like that. So I think that used to be really.
It's either Ask or Answer the Public. I can't remember. And you get a few free searches at it gives you a wheel of what they're looking at.
So back in the day, I think it used to be. I think it was a free tool. I think there's a guy called Neil Patel or something that might have bought it, or he's going to monetize it or something like that. But that used to be amazing. It used to be a whole wheel of give you like 200 different kind of keywords or kind of topics.
Well, he has Uber Search, doesn't he?
Yeah, Uber Suggest. Yeah, Uber Suggest he does.
Uber Suggest, not Uber Search.
But yeah, he's got that, which is kind of a similar tool as well. And I think there's kind of 3 tiers. I think you get like maybe 3 kind of daily searches a day or something like that. And there's like a paid kind of subscription model as well. But all kind of tools like this are really good to write content that gets traffic. Otherwise, just don't write content.
Yeah. Yeah. And something that I'm always banging on as well about is if you're going to write content, don't forget to repurpose it. Like so many people forget, they'll write an article and then they'll just leave it there. I always say, try to repurpose it at least 5 times. So you can even turn articles into videos with certain products now. They'll pull off headings and make them really groovy for you. And it doesn't cost a lot to do, but you don't always have to start from scratch. So sometimes people will have particularly agencies that have been around for a while, they'll have so much content that they can dig out again and just play around with a little bit, shine it up a little bit, and then you've got some great new content too for your site. Because I know it's one of those things that people really struggle with. Oh, I've got to write some content, or I've got to find some content.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. That evergreen content that you can repurpose, and just because you wrote it once, it doesn't mean everyone saw it. You post it again 6 months later or a year later, or whatever, or put it on YouTube and stuff like that. Really, and that's brilliant.
It's such a good point. It's such a good point, Rob. People think that because they posted something, the whole world's seen it. Like I get people saying, oh, no, well, I couldn't possibly post it on LinkedIn and email it as well. And I'm like, yes, you can. If you've got a good open rate on email and with LinkedIn, not everybody's going to see it. You could send it out 4 times in the same week and they probably wouldn't even notice. So,
and they're different user groups as well. People
do pull back.
They're going to be current clients. The ones that are subscribed to these, the ones on LinkedIn, that's where you're going to get the kind of the new users, really. If you get, if you write an article, and I know people are probably against this, but I say always that if you write an article that's relevant to, there's so many industry influencers, the people on LinkedIn that get loads of likes and stuff like that. If you write an article that's relevant to them, send it over to them. It's like, do you know what? I wrote this particular piece, blah, blah, blah. Thought you might find it interesting, or maybe give them a mention or something like that, really. And if they post it or if they share it, then that's going to go viral. You're not going to go viral from kind of people slowly liking it here and there. You're going to get one of those big influencers to share it. Then all their content always gets, 50, 100, 1,000 people liking their content. So you're going to suddenly just shoot up. So go for that stuff.
And it doesn't matter if it's good or bad. I saw some today, one of the guys, I can't remember the guy's name, but he's like big on LinkedIn, gets like, tens of thousands of likes every time he posts something. And he posted something about, it was just about a chicken, a raw chicken, a cooked chicken and an overcooked chicken, talking about your market. And I was like, and had all these likes. And I was like, really? Like, so they're probably happy to get some good content to share as well.
I mean, if you posted about raw chicken, then I think they're clutching at straws there. So send them something to go.
Well, that's what I thought.
Yeah. It's a paltry argument, that one, isn't it?
Yeah, boom, cha-cha. Sorry, Andrew, pardon me.
Yeah, BK, I was just going to say that what do you think about the philosophy, Rob? Just focus on your niche and then build some really good content that your candidates talk to you about or your clients talk to you about. And then once you've got that content there, then explore the technical facets of websites and how to rank with SEO in mind after that. Or are you a bigger advocate of start with the SEO in mind or start with the ranking in mind and then build the content around that, methodology?
You can learn all these things yourself. There's so much online. There's so many YouTube tutorials that can kind of talk you through these things as well. But I'd say try and start with SEO in mind. So if you want to kind of start out a blog or you want to kind of change it and make sure it's actually doing something, write down a list of, say, 100 keywords that people would use to kind of find your recruitment agency. Put that into an AI tool like Gemini or ChatGPT and get it to spit out even more. And then take that really long list and then put it into the Google Keyword Planner. And then you can kind of see, you can just click on like traffic and it will show you the search terms that get the most traffic. Then take that list of, maybe 30, 40, 50 keywords and then plan content around those keywords. That's my best advice.
That's
best
gold.
Use of it.
That's really great advice.
I love that. I love that perspective. And there's a nice structure to it in that way, isn't there?
Yeah, it's just simple. Just stick to the process.
It helps you plan.
Come up with keywords, put them in ChatGPT, put them into the Google Keyword Planner, and then take that list and focus just on content on pages that answer those particular search intent queries.
Yeah. So when you put them into ChatGPT, you'd be saying, "Here's 5, give me another 20." Is that what you're alluding to with ChatGPT or Gemini?
Along those lines, but it's kind of they work best with a really good prompt. So spend a few minutes working out the prompt. So say something like, I am the owner or I am the recruitment marketeer for a telecoms recruitment agency based in Australia. We have a blog that is I don't know, has a blog that is read by our candidates, our clients, and talent, and our clients of these particular verticals or industries. Here's a list of kind of keywords. Can you build upon this and give me more keywords? And then kind of go from there. And at the end as well, when you have those kind of keywords as well, just use those keywords when you've got that finished list. Take that keyword and put it into Google and see the content that comes up. So you'll see a list of articles that have come up. Look through those top 3 articles and then take the best bits of those top 3 articles and then put it into your own article. And then Google will be like, oh, okay, this has answered, 5 things out of this particular, part of the query, 5 things out of this particular part of the query, 5 things out of this particular part of the query. You'll be like, okay, this is like a culmination of all of those top 3 results. I'm going to put it to the top. If you've got a good domain rating as well that kind of beats those. But yeah, that's the idea.
That's great. Thank you. I love that. I love these practical tips. So, Robert, when it comes to having a website and thinking about integration with CRM, ATSs, etc., other tools, what do you think are the tools that are crucial for agencies' websites and how they can enhance functionality?
I think it depends on what you need and the size of your agency, to be honest. So there's so much rec tech out there at the moment. Like it can get so, you can be overwhelmed quite easily with it all. I hear a lot about kind of chatbots and virtual chat apps at the moment. Like people are loving those at the moment and seem to get a lot of value out of those. It's a great way to kind of, capture leads as well. Obviously, you're not sat at your desk 24/7. So there's going to be people, logging onto your website outside of hours where you're spending time with your family or having a barbecue or whatever it may be. So those are great kind of applications that you can integrate with your website, and they can kind of field questions or direct people or kind of capture email addresses from them and things like that, really. And there's loads of free ones out there. I think HubSpot, like you mentioned, HubSpot do a free one. So so even with their free tier with HubSpot, I think there's a free chatbot. It's like one line of code that your web developer or maybe yourself could even put into your website. It's one line of code. You put it into the index.html file. It'll tell you how to do this anyway. And then you can set it all up. There's loads of YouTube tutorials that talk you through it, and you're going to set up how the conversation flows. But that's a really good one that people are really kind of focusing on. Obviously, the CRM, a lot of people kind of do the CRM as well. I think you need to kind of work out your market and see if it's going to be relevant. So there's probably loads of markets that get an absolute ton of applications. And a lot of these applications aren't going to be relevant, or they won't have the visa requirements to work in your particular country, whatever it may be. Do you want all of those CVs going into your CRM and kind of clustering it up, really? So sometimes you want to kind of work out, is it worth putting all of these applications into the CRM? Because at some point you're going to have to cleanse that CRM. You're going to have to delete all those candidates if they're not relevant or if they can't work in your country or whatever it may be, really. But I think pushing jobs from the CRM onto your website, and it's a big time saver. You can use kind of multi-job posters as well for all that kind of stuff. But I think that's a big time saver. There's no point kind of uploading the job to the CRM, then uploading it onto social media, uploading it onto your website, and uploading it onto all the job boards and stuff like that, really. And that's a great kind of tool that can feed it out. And then things like I mentioned as well, Google Analytics 4, Google Tag Manager, they're really kind of important tools that you can kind of see the traffic and see the most visitor pages. I think they're kind of great tools as well. Make sure they're set up properly. I see a lot of recruitment agencies that aren't cookie consent compliant. They're not kind of GDPR compliant. So there's a free kind of tool you can use yourself. So it's called 2GDPR. So if you type that in, 2GDPR, type that into Google, you can put in your URL, website URL into that, and it will tell you if your website is kind of cookie GDPR compliant.
That's good to know. You're full of good tips.
If it's not compliant as well, I mean, you'll probably be totally fine. But yeah, if someone did report you to like the ICO in the UK or something like that, they could get in touch and send you a legal letter and stuff like that. Really, you probably wouldn't get in trouble for it these days, but you could if someone wanted to be malicious. But yeah.
Are you finding them mellowing out a little bit, are you?
I don't really have any thought. I think they just but they're probably just underfunded, to be honest. So they just don't have the time to go after everyone. They'd probably just send you a letter. If someone was on your website and they got annoyed at you, they could report you to the ICO. The ICO, maybe they'd check out the website like 6 months later and send you a letter being like, can you fix this? But you can normally fix these issues, get a web developer to kind of sort them out for you. But I'd probably say like maybe like 60, 70, 80% of the recruitment websites I visit aren't properly GDPR compliant. To be honest, it's a huge number, I'm really surprised.
And that's bigger companies as well?
Yeah. I've been on companies that had literally hundreds of consultants. I was pitching for a bit of business a while ago for a large international recruitment agency. They had a well-known website provider set up their website, and I was checking it, and it wasn't properly compliant. I was really surprised. I let them know, but yeah, someone obviously missed something and hadn't checked it, and it was just been sitting there for 5 years. But yeah.
God, has it been in that long? Has it 5 years? Was that 5 years ago?
Oh no, this particular website had been sitting out since they deployed it and stuff like that. So yeah.
Oh, pardon me. Okay, but it probably has been around 5 years anyway. Yeah, cool. That's interesting.
Lots of tips there, that's for sure. I think I've just been listing all this stuff down as we've been chatting, and it's a really good takeaway to get some free things done that doesn't take a lot of effort either. So you can keep enhancing what you have, because that customer experience is really important. It's great to have that beautiful site, but if you haven't got that call to action, as you've been recommending somewhere on each page, then what's the use of it, right? So there's lots of ways that Rob's been sharing today, which is really exciting. And I think there's going to be a huge amount of takeaways for this session as well. And one question that's on the tip of my tongue is around emerging trends. I love my tech. What are some emerging trends and innovations in the world of web development, Rob, that recruitment agencies should think about or be aware of at least, or plan for?
Oh, I don't know. You got me on this one, to be honest. There's probably what I don't really know that much about. I'd say, I don't know, emerging.
Well, you mentioned chatbots and things like that.
Yeah, I mean,
are there tools and things like that?
Lead gen. I think lead gen, obviously, kind of capturing. Someone showed me a tool. You couldn't use it in the UK or the EU or probably Australia, but someone showed me this tool that you can use in the US markets because their regulations are a lot more relaxed than ours. But there was this tool they showed me, and you could actually see who's visited the website. So you could see the people who had actually visited your website. So it gave you their profile, their social media handles, which was just absolutely mind-blowing. I mean, that is absolutely invaluable data. If you'd had, a client land on your website and look at your website, but hadn't got in touch, you'd have that list and be like, oh, okay, I could phone up that major engineering company, that major media company, and reach out to that person. Like, oh, hey, just calling you coincidentally. How you doing? Can we help out with anything? And they'd be like, oh, yeah, I was looking at your website the other day, actually. Yeah, let's have a chat. That blew my mind. I don't know how they kind of do that. So I'll probably look into the actual kind of tech behind how they do that. But I thought that was amazing. Probably, just AI tools.
What were they called, Rob?
They were called, I could look it up for you, but...
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah, I can't remember. It was
something to find, something to look into. That's for sure. Yeah, it sounds really interesting. I wonder if it's available for our region here.
I don't know, American kind of tool that can kind of track stuff. It's specifically for the American market. So if you're dealing with the American markets, you could use it there. Yeah. And on the website, it says for the US only. So you could only use it for that particular market. But
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of my guys are in the States. That's why I was interested to. Yeah,
Because
okay.
I know there's a lot of automation tools with CRM platforms that if you do some outbound reach, it puts a cookie on their machine. And then if they do visit your site, then you've got a bit more transparency into who's coming through to have a look at your site. And to your point, Rob, if they do nothing, it could be worthwhile putting them into some sort of a sequence or alerting their account manager saying, hey, Rob's just visited our site. He was looking at the contact us page. You might want to give him a call. Or vice versa on the candidate front, to highlight that this candidate, that this candidate might be looking if they're looking at our jobs page and they haven't applied for a job, right? So we'll put them into a sequence and say, hey, Rob, just thought I'd check in to see if you're looking for any opportunities at the moment, and we'll make sure we've got the right details on file for you, et cetera, et cetera. So, I love that, I guess, the collaboration between what you've got at your front end, your website, and then what happens with the data in the back end. If the machine can leverage that data for you so you can act a little bit more smartly and a bit more efficiently, then that's where I guess the magic starts to happen. I was thinking some people think it's a little bit stalky when you make that phone call after you get that ping from your CRM that says, hey, Rob's been looking at our website. But I'm certainly of the opinion they wouldn't have gone there for no reason. Okay. And so as an active service, let's try and find out how we can help that person in the best way. Because if it's a candidate, they might have just had a really bad week and they've decided, I've got to do the better thing because I've had a rough trot the last quarter. I'm taking it home. I need to find something better. So, if we can find that better opportunity as recruiters, then we're not only positively impacting on their career, but also their family life as well.
And it'll
vice
probably get
versa.
to the point where you can start to cross-match too against your own, I mean, I don't know if they're there or not yet, but against your own email list. So if you can see somebody's doing that and you just happen to give them a call, they're on your email, it could be just a signal that you've got a hot lead and it's time to have a chat. You don't necessarily have to start with, I saw you looking at my site.
Yeah,
that's
it.
it.
I want to lead with that.
Yeah, I think.
It was 2 seconds ago. Yeah. I'm just giving you a call.
Maybe leave it for half an hour, right?
Let's have a chat. No, yeah.
That's it. I can see you.
See that job right there? I think you're
probably webcam from you. I've activated your webcam. I can see everything.
That's right.
I'm not a stalker, I promise. So, Robert, I think so many practical tips there. Thank you so much. Lots of little things that people can go off and action, which is always really lovely. But I want to hear, now's your chance to shine and tell us about Abstraction Labs. How can people get in touch with you? Little bit about what you're up to.
You can get in touch with me simply by visiting my website, and I'll track you. And I'll be able to pop round to your house.
Good.
But just reach out to me. Yeah, I'm active on LinkedIn. I'm really active on LinkedIn, so reach out on LinkedIn. I love the telephone. So I used to be a recruiter. So I used to be boiler room sales as well. So I love the telephone. So jump on the telephone. Or drop me an email if you feel more comfortable with that, whatever it may be, really. I make websites. I make really, really good websites. In my opinion, they're technically the best in the market at the moment. But yeah, I spend a lot of time, a lot of attention to details, making really good, technically fast, the fastest in the industry, really well optimized SEO websites. Used to work in the business. Used to have my own agency, had a job board. I used to develop recruitment CRMs as well. I'm pretty invested in the market. But yeah, if you're looking for a really good website.
And from memory, you're all UK, isn't it? From when we spoke
the other day? So traditionally, all my clients at the moment, I've been set up about, so I left the recruitment CRM company about a year ago. So I've had the business full time for about a year now. All my clients have been based in the UK up until now. But yeah, I'm happy to have a chat to American clients or European clients or Australian clients. Yeah, my European continental languages a little bit. Je parle un petit peu de français and ich spreche ein bisschen Deutsch. So yeah, if you're French and German, I could maybe cut my way through. English-speaking countries, reach out to me. I'll make you a brilliant website. They're really good value. So yeah.
Amazing. Well, thank you
so much.
So any parting words, Rob, or you feel like we've
No, you covered everything.
We've done the circuit.
Yeah, you've really perked me up. I came into it feeling very sleepy, but yeah, it's given me a lot of energy. So yeah, the energy.
Well, you did share with us you've got a very pregnant wife who's starting to snore, so we can understand.
About 3 weeks away now, probably about 3 to 4 weeks away. So But no,
Exciting times.
absolute pleasure. Yeah, lovely chatting to both of you. Really enjoyed it. Love sharing the practical advice, and hopefully people have found it interested. And if anyone needs any clarification or anything, I'm happy to kind of, there's loads of free tools out there. So happy to kind of give people advice on free tools as well.
Super helpful.
Thanks again, Rob.
Thank you so much. Really enjoyed our chat.
Brilliant.
Cheers.
Thanks for joining us for today's episode of the Tech Savvy Recruiter. If you'd like to stay up to date with the latest recruitment trends and insights, make sure that you remember to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. And also, if you'd like to speak to Andrew about turning your tech stack into your secret weapon, or myself around creating an agency that delivers you more money, more meaning, and more freedom, we'd absolutely love to chat. Reach out to us on LinkedIn. Thank you so much for your support. We look forward to seeing you next time.